and welcome to the CW Comic Book Crew. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman. Of course, I got my crew here. I have Dez, Brandon, Cash, and we have a guest today. This is David Gremillion from Get Your Geek On. Tell us a little bit about that show.
All right, so what we're doing is it's talk radio, which we have it for politics, we have it for sports, we have it for gardening, and how to change the oil in your car. And I thought, with the way the geeky industry is, why don't we have something on the airwaves for people like us?
Sure.
So I kind of pitched the idea around at 9:30 a.m. KLUP, The Answer here in San Antonio, picked it up, and man, we just took right off and just started running with it. We got interviews, we have an award-winning podcast, we have breaking news, and we just have a ball with it. It's so much fun. We just love it.
It is.
In fact,
yep, I will be on the show. Coming up on, I believe it was Thursday the 12th?
Next Thursday the 12th.
Yes, next Thursday. I'm going to be on there. So I'm going to get to see it live in person and see. It's going to take me back to my radio days. But we got a big show. We got to get to it.
We got a big table full of big minds and a big show ahead. Let's start as we always do with the CW.
Yes.
And this week I wanted to talk about something we haven't talked about a hot minute.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about last week, and we'll get more into it, is Arrow.
Yes.
We got some more Al Ghul residents coming out. So this coming up week, we are going to see more Tess Al Ghul. I don't know if I feel it that well. Like, the more I see the trailer, the more I see the build-up for it, and the inevitable Arrow versus Arrow battle that we will see by the end of the season. I don't know if we're going to see the first parts of that in this week or next week, but it does look like we will definitely see a fight at some point in the next 3 weeks.
Next week.
You think so? All right. Well, Des, you've been kind of watching, kind of not watching. How do you feel about this season so far? Because you've been pretty anti-Arrow this whole year.
Still am.
Still am. All right.
I'm sorry. I don't like my Green Arrow brooding like Batman. I
fair.
need the guy who can make like a quick wit just off of something. Like, I need that. I can't I love like the actor, but I can't stand his portrayal of Arrow. It irks me to my very core.
What about our guests? You guys probably kind of been outside looking in. I've been inside looking out. So
I really like the last few episodes where Thea's come back, and I kind of feel like the old crew's coming together. I hate the other crew. I don't like them. I feel like they're always whining, and then they complain about the same things Arrow does to them. They're like, we do it to them. Like, I like Arrow. I've always liked Arrow, and I think it's kind of lost its way because like what Des says, like he's not the same anymore, and he feels like he's like always like questioning himself, and I don't like that.
I have a feeling that I'm hoping that this will be part of a character arc for this poor guy because, all right, so you can have a little brooding, but you got to bring the fun back. I mean, that's got to be part of it. And then you can compare and say, oh, you remember that one season where he was so brooding all the time? Isn't it awesome that we don't have that anymore? Hint, hint. And I'm hoping that's where we end up going with it.
it's pretty much, I can let this out now because it kind of went on the internet over the weekend. It is pretty much confirmed, I'll say 90% confirmed, all of our superhero shows will be renewed for another season.
Yes.
No one's getting lost in the back burner. And with that, Riverdale will also be back for another season, which will return in 2 weeks on April 18th. I'm
loving it.
What can we say about Riverdale other than it returns on the 18th?
Wow.
Go watch it. So.
Yes. Let's switch over to a Fox station.
Switching over to Fox.
Gotham.
Gotham,
And
yeah.
we've been battling back and forth as far as Joker. And I think this past episode kind of gave us, I think it confirmed more what you said, that we're going to finally see the Joker, and it's not who we think it is.
Right.
Jerome has been, everybody's been touting him as being the Joker, but this last one he got out of Arkham and he went right to his uncle's house. So he's wanting to find out who this specific person is he's looking for, where they're at. Obviously, that could be a long lost relative, brother, what have you. And I think that's who you're going to see the Joker.
Oh, like how your mother, like, you thought it was the one for so long. Like the last
It's a swerve, man. I saw it coming from a mile away. But I mean, that being said, we still have yet to kind of see the real Red Hood, which I would love to see in this Gotham universe. I thought it'd be cool, right?
That would be great.
So I'm thinking maybe that's going to lean towards it, like, hey, this is your uncle, blah blah blah. He's the Red Hood now, or something along those lines.
He's Red Hood. Roll credit.
Yeah, but they are, arcing it, as far as, why don't you get the traditional Batman makes Joker, as far as
because
story
it's
arc,
Gotham,
I think,
man. It's not about Batman. It's
Exactly.
about Batman becoming Batman, and it's about more so Jim Gordon being Jim Gordon and becoming Commissioner Jim Gordon, the man whose thumb is on the pulse of the city and whatnot.
That's one of the things that I love about this show is that it, instead of focusing on these superheroes and supervillains, we got to see Jim Gordon for the first time and really get to understand who he is and where he came from. And I think it's been a traditionally underwritten part of the Batman lore. Is who is this guy?
He's always been ancillary.
Yeah, and then we get to see him, clean shaven. Then we see him with a mustache, and now we know mustache is good. We
He
like
was
that.
even a
That's pretty
fugitive
good.
for a while, which I loved. You know,
Yeah,
he was
right,
a
right.
fugitive for a while. What about you, Cash?
Well, I started watching it on Netflix to catch up with it, and I like to show the concept, how it's going. I was always against like pre-comic book, like this is before Batman,
stuff, yeah.
any of that stuff, because like you can't have Batman and his rogue of villains without Batman. You can't just say they existed, because that's been the thing about Batman is like these people came because he existed, right? And then you add in this new thing like, oh, they've always been there. No,
Well,
I don't like
this
it.
is kind of like Batman Noir. Do you remember that book?
Yeah, I like that book.
So right. It's not really a retelling. It's more of a retelling more than a prequel. If that makes sense. So it's you're building up to something. You're building up to something. You're building up to something. But it's not in that same realm of, oh, this is the Justice League. This is Batman. This is Superman. You know, it's in a whole different world in itself, as DC loves to do.
Oh, yeah.
This is Universe 847629. I don't know what universe it is. But it is a
Point
universe.
3.7.
Right. So this is just a reimagining of a story we all know and love.
Yeah.
And with that, it's done a really good job of reimagining characters and bringing them new life or bringing them different details that might merge into the comic book world really easily if you just kind of keep your mind's eye open to it. Especially like Alfred. Alfred's character
Sure.
in that is very much that father figure that Bruce needs.
Yep.
And that's always blended between stuff. So it's hard to tell when one universe ends and the next begins. But in this certain case, it's definitely a reimagining of the whole city.
Well, as soon as we heard the word Batman, you know, Joker was the next word that comes out, and I think in the next couple episodes we're going to see that reemerging of that character that everybody's been waiting for.
And I think it'll be. I've seen one promo. I'm not gonna let too much
Okay.
out, but it is definitely a great promo for it.
We're going to move on to a show that we.
Yeah, man, we gotta talk
We're
about
going
it.
to talk about it just because it's
We
out
talked
there.
about
Yeah.
it. We
It's
talked
like
about
the elephant in
about
the
a month
room.
ago. We talked
Yeah.
about it a little bit more than that when it was announced. It looked good. It looked way better,
Yeah.
and then it plummeted faster than the Facebook stock. Like, it
Krypton.
just went
Krypton. I mean, it was touted all over the Olympics. You saw it left and right. We thought this was going to be the show. But how can, again, the question comes, how can you do a Superman show without Superman?
Well, Superman's in it.
Yeah, right.
Kinda.
Yeah.
His cape's in it.
He's
He's gonna get an
Well,
Emmy for
are
that
you gonna
cape.
make the same argument? How do you do the Batman show without Batman
Right,
here? You know,
but
like,
Batman's in the show.
He's in the show. It's just not.
And I was literally just said he is in the show, kinda. Again, the reimagining and the thing.
Sure.
Here's the difference between Gotham and Krypton. Gotham, I'm constantly going, wow, this is interesting. This is cool. These characters are written well. Oh, I get it. The Penguin. Look at the Penguin growing as a character. Here's the thing about Krypton. I don't care. I don't care. There's nothing in the show. Like the first episode, I was like, all right, interesting. Second episode, I literally walked out the room and did something else because I was bored. It was not.
Brainiac didn't have you on the edge of your seat?
No,
It's not
like-
for you. That's
it's-
why this show is not
It
made
is for me. I am the target demographic for this show.
I don't think you are.
I like Batman. I have a lot of Superman comics and Superman stuff around the house. I have a Krypton.
I think what
a
she's
piece of
getting to-
Krypton in my
It's
bedroom.
not for you. You're the super fan. It's not for the
it's-
super fan.
no,
It's
no, no.
for like the kind of casual, like, okay,
It's
everybody
on a
come-
third-party network that you have to subscribe to through a cable network. It's not good. Gotham is what you're talking about. It's for not the super fans. People
Gotham has
who know
like a
NBA.
great rogues gallery to work with.
And
I mean, that is
So
right
is
there.
Superman.
Oh.
This is
he?
not a good show.
His cape doesn't
No, I wish you'd stop holding back and just tell us how you really feel.
And it's a shame because it has such a good premise and such a good idea. And the more that promo came out, and it was like, all right, cool. So this is a different universe. This is Superman trying to save his planet from an untimely death before it has an untimely death.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, see, Krypton is like, it's like if they did a series about Titanic. You know
Right,
the
right.
boat's gonna sink. Why are we even bother watching them put it together?
But
That's
this
why
is
you
a-
skip the second VHS
Right,
tape and
but
just watch
this
that
is-
part.
there you go.
this is like Titanic if a U-boat showed up and sunk it before it hit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you gotta stop the U-boat from
you're like,
sinking
that's a
it.
cool premise. I think Steven Seagal did that movie in the 80s. But it's boring, man. There's nothing holding me to my seat going, all right, cool. What's after this break? What's after this? What's the next episode
What's after
gonna
this
be
break?
like?
It's called the remote.
Right. I mean, I was just, and they even put in a prime slot after wrestling at one
Yes.
point. They did 2 weeks ago. They were leading up to Road to WrestleMania, which is a prime time for ratings. They're killing it with numbers, and they literally put it right after Monday Night Raw. And what happened? It tanked. Like disturbed. Like the numbers were so just cataclysmically bad.
lead in.
It was as bad as when Krypton imploded the first time. We went,
Too soon.
From a
Too
few
soon.
100,000 viewers to maybe 1,000. It's oh my! It was
They're
so
still trying to
bad
figure out
looking.
those people who are actually watching
It was bad, and it was bad in the first 15 minutes.
And you know
when
what's
that
bad
show
about
should have
it?
been the best
You
part
know
of
what's
it.
bad? Worse? We've been talking about it this long.
Yeah, I know. Right. So if you want to check out
We have more time
Krypton,
than humans.
Lord be with you. Go check out Krypton. I'm just telling you, I didn't
I
like
think
it. It was
humans had more
boring.
redeeming value than this. So that's my thing.
Moving
But
forward
moving
to
forward.
the big screen. Movie came out last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? Or?
Little movie. I guess Ready Player One. Some guy named Steven Spielberg decided to put another movie out.
He did.
And it did phenomenally well.
It did do
I
really
mean,
well.
and the thing is, cash came in right away, and that was the first thing you wanted to talk about. So
I saw it.
Take it away, take
I'm
it away.
probably the only one here saw it, right?
You are.
So, well, you
No,
saw it.
I
Okay.
thought, yeah, opening weekend.
I'm a big fan of the book.
Yes.
I read the book years ago. When it came out, 2011, probably 2012 is when I read it. And we thought we're going to go that way. We're going to be there. VR is going to be right here. It's kind of coming, not really, but I loved the movie. I thought it was fun. It was popcorn fun. It was filled with action. It had plenty of visual effects, which is stunning. You're looking at it, you're like, is this real, not real? I couldn't really tell as I was watching it. Yeah, you had to like kind of tweak it a little bit because the book, you couldn't really explain everything that the book encompasses. And I thought they did a really good job of packaging it in 2 hours and made me like it. I want to see more. I know there's not going to be more, but I wanted to see
Kind
something
of hard to
else.
go to
Yeah.
the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, Sword Art Online did it too, and they came out with Sword Art Online Pixies. Was the second season? Something like that. It was pretty bad. But as soon as the movie was announced, I think we all kind of geeked out a lot over the nostalgia factor. Does that hold up in the
No,
overall
well,
thing?
I don't think it does because like nostalgia's now. Like we have comic books and TV shows that have all the stuff that we wanted in the 90s are popular now. In 2012, maybe this would have been an amazing hit. But I think now is like our era of watching all this stuff. So I think it just fits into the groove that's going into movies and television.
See, I'm gonna have to sort of disagree with you there. I'm gonna do my whole Office Space impression there. But from what I've seen, everybody who loves this movie loves it for the same reason they loved Rogue One. For everything that they've seen before. Whenever you talk to somebody and they say, oh, I love Rogue One, it's because they love Vader, they love seeing the X-Wings, they love seeing the TIE fighters. It's the same thing they've seen before. It's the same thing with here. They saw the DeLorean, they saw the T-Rex, they saw King Kong, they saw Battlestar Galactica, they saw all this, everything they've seen before, all this nostalgia. Every time somebody tells me they love this movie, it's because of the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, there's no like, well, how's the story? Man, I don't know.
It's an Easter story. That's all I know. We're all trying to find these eggs or something.
That's sad.
The story is kind of cliche in its core. And in its core, it is cliche. It's been done, like I said, Sword Art Online did it back in the late 80s, early 90s when that first started making ripples and stuff like that. So it's not a new, fresh story. However, Steven Spielberg putting his name on something does make it new and fresh just throughout the world.
Highest grossing Spielberg movie in a decade. Which one
was it?
That was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 2008.
Yep.
That's right.
That's because
And
people,
why?
they
Because
didn't
went-
know what was going to happen.
Because
When
he
they
went
saw
back to
the-
his
oh.
sci-fi roots. You
That's
know,
right.
That whole science fiction.
And it was pure Spielbergian magic for a lot of this. It is a good movie, don't get me wrong, and I think people should go see it. But it's all Spielberg all the time, and it's pure nostalgia.
It is. Well, as far as a big screen, we want to let you know that we're going to be coming up. We got an Avengers special because there's that little movie coming
we
out.
started
It's
planning
huge
it
movie.
literally like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we have.
We're finally putting a feet to the ground, getting ready. I have a logo ready. That's about as far as I've gotten. I got a logo. That's all I can tease right now is there's a logo.
There's a logo.
There's a logo.
There's a
Are you
logo.
sure?
Yes.
You know,
But no, it's good. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk all things about Avengers. We're gonna talk all things coming up, what we're expecting, what we're not expecting.
Exactly.
We're gonna talk about some Avenger video game stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk a little spices of
Exactly.
everything.
And we're going to air that.
everything.
We're going to air that on
Spice
April 23rd.
April
It's going to be
23rd.
a huge event. It's just going to be nothing but Avengers: Infinity War. You got any questions? Just hit us up, and we'll hope to get in there. But it's going to be jam packed.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
get as
cannot
much
wait.
as we can. Getting excited for Avengers release that Friday after the 23rd, which is
What?
28th.
That is hard.
Anyway, so we're all going to get excited about it. It's going to be a great show. If you are just that interested in the Avengers,
Yes.
we're going to hit you more interested. If you're that interested, we're going to
Sure.
get you. I can't
It
talk.
is.
I can't.
It is. Since
I'm
the
lost. I'm
trailer,
really excited
since the
about
trailer
this
came out, I mean, everybody's been clamoring for more
And
information.
then the second
on it,
trailer
and
came
it's-
out, and then we got more.
And then, of
and
course,
so-
we got TV spots. So we're going to try to hit
We're
up
gonna hit
everything.
everything.
We're going to give us good, bad, and what we're expecting.
And that being said, we're gonna do a little spicy here. We're gonna talk about someone who will never be in the Avengers movie. Our superhero spotlight Spotlight Hellcat.
Oh, Hellcats.
This is a Dez. This
we
is
were,
a Dez
we were
joint right
literally
here.
going over trying to see who we're going to spotlight. We wanted somebody we haven't, maybe doesn't get a lot of love, and Dez immediately said Hellcat.
Yeah, she
And we said,
blurted it out. So
Well, because it makes sense if you. I don't know if I want to spoil it or not.
just go for it. Go.
Yeah, we get a nice little tease at the end of the second season of Jessica Jones with the appearance of where Trish appears to have serum apparently took to her, so she was showing signs that she has cat-like reflexes. So we got that. I sat there, I was watching, I was like, they did not just tease Hellcat. They sure did. And so hopefully, I'm pretty sure that they're going to get renewed for a third season. I'm interested to see how that's going to
And I think we'll see a Hellcat. I would actually more so, and I said this right after you said Hellcat, this would be a perfect CW show because it matches with the Patsy Headley kind of like teen drama mixed with the being a superhero part. It's kind of the polar opposite of Black Lightning, and it would fit so well between Black Lightning and, let's say, Dynasty.
Do they
I'll
need
just throw it
another
out there.
superhero show?
No. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. On the note of, do we need another superhero show?
We need a slot to fill in a couple of those shows that time slots.
Well, I think it's great. This will be kind of cool. It's an interesting homage that they're paying here because Patsy was the first character to be under the Marvel banner. She was. Yeah, she came out. She first debuted in 1944, but in 1961, when Marvel actually became Marvel, that's when you had Patsy come out, and she was officially the oldest Marvel character ever.
And I think that'd be kind of a cool way of doing it. Like Jessica Jones thing is kind of cool, but the older, wiser female character would have been even cooler. The one who's been there and be like, look, kids, don't do it.
Don't get in that ruckus.
Right. Let's switch over to video
Switch
games.
over to video games,
Des, you
Me.
played some Far Cry 5, the
I
big
did.
news last week.
I did.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, it's a good game so far. It warrants the Metacritic score it has right now, but
What is it? Like a 80? Something like that?
81, I think.
81?
So,
Yeah, okay.
From what I played so far, my only kind of gripe about it is the AI.
Yeah.
I was on this cliff because I first of all I like how they when you first start the game you're actually on an island. That's hilarious because they're keeping the whole island trend going even though you're not technically on a tropical island. But I got onto one of the cliffs and the enemy saw me, jumped down and could not find me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, bam. So I was just like, but I did actually manage to beat the game in under 15 minutes.
I watched this video. This is on your YouTube. If you want to check it out, she does the whole 15-minute playthrough. Quite interesting stuff. Here's the best quote I've heard about Far Cry, and you can tell me if it's right. Out of all the Far Cry games we've ever been, all five, or what, six?
Yeah, it's Primal.
Seven. That would be seven because
Yeah.
Primal. Out of all 7 games, this is definitely a Far Cry game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a meme generator for the most part.
It's not it's not gonna deviate from what it knows, what it does best.
Yeah.
It's a Far Cry game.
Does it improve upon that though? Like Blood Dragon improved upon Far Cry.
Blood Dragon was kind of the thing. We're just gonna put this together and see if it works.
Throw it on a wall,
Maybe
and
it was
it
gonna
worked.
work because of whole Vice City. It was
Right, and it worked.
People love
Does
that.
this work? Does this improve upon Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal?
4, yes. I don't know if would call Joseph Seed my kind of evil villain like the way Boss Montenegro was.
Right,
because
right.
that guy was amazing.
Right.
I haven't seen that from Joseph Seed yet, so I don't know if I'm gonna see it because I think Boss Montenegro is the best Far Cry villain that's ever been there.
Okay. I mean,
Again, Min was okay, but I mean
High praise.
Yeah.
Out of all the Far Cry games, this is definitely one of them. Other thing we found out is Lego Incredibles is coming out.
Yes.
They're titling it as two movies, one game, all put together. Who doesn't love the Lego series? I mean, put on any one of those
never
games from
loved
Harry
it.
Potter to the Marvel universe,
the
any
first
of them.
Star Wars.
The first Star
Yes.
Wars, the Star Wars collection, which is all of them.
Yeah.
You could even the Star Wars Lego Tide Pod.
Who doesn't want to see a Lego
No.
Edna? We want to see a Lego Edna.
And right.
I wouldn't mind having a
um,
giant figurine of a Lego Edna. I'm just saying.
We don't know a whole lot about the game. We got this little tease that
Yeah.
basically just shows them building a wall.
It doesn't matter
for
what it is,
lack of a
'cause
better word.
You're gonna play it regardless because
yeah.
Lego, they haven't really done a bad Lego game when they're trying to whatever franchise they're pimping out at that
Yeah,
time. So.
I mean they pretty much have it's pretty much Avengers but with a little more stylistic stuff to it, and I'm okay with that. I think this is a cool idea. I'm definitely down for it. Will it warrant a $60 price tag? That's my question. Because it will be the exact same game we got for the last 4 of them, for the most part.
If you
more
like
so
one, I
towards the
think you're gonna
Avengers
like them
second.
all.
But
Yeah,
now
right.
it's with Edna.
Yes.
Right.
Now it's Edna.
That's right, Don.
That's where the $60 come from. Like it's 40 originally, but then Edna you put in there. That's jacking up the price.
All right.
We got to move on to a little bit more retro.
man.
We were talking retro, and of course we got the World Video Game Hall of Fame finalists this year were released, and it's just plastered
Now, if
with
you
retro.
don't know, this is part of the Strong Museum, in
Museum.
Rochester, New York. Every year they kind of puts the stuff together, and there's quite a list to go through
There it
on
is.
who they want to put in this year. We'll start with Asteroids, All Known Love.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
classic arcade.
Surprised it took them that long to get him in there.
Yeah, I'm going to go down this list when you just kind of talk about it. Call of Duty's on there, the whole franchise, I assume, not just the first one.
Actually, no, it's actually the
It's
first
just
one
the
because
first one?
because that
Okay.
one launched everything.
It's very
so.
interesting how they're doing it, because I can go down this list.
I hope that one doesn't make it then.
It's weird. Dance Dance Revolution, again, I assume the first one then.
Yep.
It's a good arcade game. It did revitalize the arcade
It's because
genre
it's
for a
not what it
while.
did here, it's what it's done overseas in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where that's on
I
there.
get that. Final Fantasy VII, which is
course.
oddly specific.
Oh yeah.
It's have you played Final Fantasy VII?
14 times,
okay.
because that's what it is. Half-Life is on there. Not one, not 2, and definitely not 3.
Right.
They made
of course, John Madden
there was no
football.
third one at all.
Yeah,
No.
There was part 2 of
We had
2.
John Madden football. This is
The
the,
first
one
one.
that started it all.
Right, and I mean,
So they couldn't get Tecmo Bowl? I mean,
You know,
I like Tecmo Bowl.
That's the best one.
King's Quest, which I actually had to look up because I was like, that's an interesting title, and then
It
I
is.
remember exactly what it was
Yeah.
once I saw some video of it. Metroid, again, very classic, very classic. Minecraft's on there.
Now that is just interesting.
Which I agree is a modern day Hall of Fame worthy game.
Yeah.
Right up there with the Call of Duty. However, it is not that old, and it's
Yeah.
and it's
Very,
basic,
very recent.
very recent,
Yeah.
especially when Asteroids and Metroid are on this list. You're like, well, how can one be without the other?
Right.
But
It's like putting Dak Prescott in the Hall of Fame already. It's like really?
oddly
We're still
recent.
going.
Then Miss Pac-Man's on there. Again, put Minecraft and Miss Pac-Man. How is one
Model
and the
little
other
Miss
not?
Pac-Man machine. So it's bored. She's on there.
Space War, and then finishing off with
Tomb
Tomb Raider, which again, it's almost 20 years old now. More than
yeah.
20
Yeah,
years old.
it's because you get to lock the butler in the freezer.
That's all. Absolutely.
So I mean, it's a really weird hodgepodge list. They haven't been doing this that often, so
Sure.
and I'm assuming that's why there's so many on this list.
Right.
You're like,
well,
how
last
is
year I
that-
believe it was Donkey Kong and a few others.
usual suspects,
And this
right.
year they're going ahead. I think this is the second year in a row. You can go to our website and you can go ahead and actually vote online to see who you would put in. So go to the CW35
I would take out Call of
website
Duty.
and go ahead and look up the
put
story,
in Zombie and
and
My
you
Neighbors.
can go ahead and vote for your own choices there.
It's a weird list because I feel
Yeah.
like they're just getting started, so they should just grandfather some stuff
Well, it's like
in,
the,
right?
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, that first one, you got to get all the iconics.
Right, you
and
gotta
Elvis,
grab
Buddy
people,
Holly,
the Beatles,
and then, I mean, look how long it took to
Right,
get Led
right.
Zeppelin and everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and we're still waiting for quite a few people to get inducted.
Yes.
So, cool what they're doing over this at the Strong Museum in Rochester. It's a really cool museum. If you've never Googled it or looked at it, or even been to it, if you've been so lucky to be
Sure.
in Rochester for whatever reason. I went to Rochester.
Book your trip now.
Right.
The highlight of Rochester.
I'm pretty sure it is, actually. That's a cool place, though. I'm hoping they do a lot more. They expand to this and
Sure.
actually even have playable machines and stuff like that so we can enjoy them as a Hall of Fame should be.
It would
Yeah,
be very nice.
that'd be cool.
So
Very
that's
nice.
my tip for them.
Well, we got to get
Free.
to some comics because two huge,
Oh, yeah, there's some
and I'm
comics
talking
that came out. All
huge comics dropped this past week.
We're gonna start with this one?
Cash, we're going to start with this one.
Yeah, let's start
All
with
right,
metal
let's do
here.
it. Metal.
Metal. Here's the
Final
final
issue.
metal. After all the tie-ins and all the going through everything and the chaotic storyline, you don't know where it's going, which way.
sure.
This is 6 of 6. We've been waiting a long time for this final book.
yeah.
It came out last week. This is one of the variant covers. A very, very pretty
This is
cover.
probably the best of the covers.
It really is.
They put out
Gorgeous.
4 of them. It was amazing. And of course, we're going to go ahead and we're going to break it all down next week. But first, Cash, what do you think about the series just overall? Just not.
Well,
not
this,
day
I
to
thought it
day.
was, it started out confusing. You get going and you're like
Very confusing, yeah,
very
right.
confusing. You have like so many different characters that have to go into like whatever the nth metal is and all that stuff. I gotta say this comic pretty much does what all DC does. They wrap it up in a nice little box and ends it all pretty for you.
Yep.
Huge battle scene, plenty of characters, and yeah, you're gonna love it.
I mean,
I'm really
What?
hoping that this expands. I think I know they've already had the trade back kind of announced and ready to go for it. I think it comes out really quickly.
It does, too.
So if you haven't read it, give it a hot minute and it'll be out, and you can catch the whole thing in one big, nice conclusional ball.
We're
And
gonna get wood.
I would suggest-
plastic.
yes,
I would suggest reading it all in one group because like
Yeah.
it's tough going back and forth.
Yeah, this
as
is
that's
one
what
of
I
them
am.
comes
I'm
out.
actually waiting to read it. You know,
this is one of those books that came out periodically, and in the last few, was it 6 or 7 months? It came out.
Yeah.
It was very hard to keep track of it because I was like, all right,
And all the
I had to go back.
tie-ins. Like you said, they
Yeah.
had so many tie-ins, it was hard to keep track, but now
That being
it's all
said, it was a
together.
fun
Yes.
read. Again, wait for the trade back if you haven't picked up any
Yes.
episodes. But if you have, you better get going because
Yeah.
they're pretty much selling out everywhere.
yeah.
One of the things
Yeah.
the art in this was just
Oh.
was brilliant. It was the use of it because the first 5 or 6 pages is so dark, so dark, so dark, so dark, and then there's this one moment. It's this one page. It's brilliantly blue and white, and it's gorgeous. And then you go back to being dark again, and it's
Yeah.
like, I want that again. That was great.
Scott Snyder, he definitely works really close with his artist to try to put together these very, very cinematic feeling comic books, and this is just the pinnacle of his work so far.
Sure.
Not to put too much achievement in his hands right now, but it is a fantastic
Well,
book.
this is another book we've been waiting
other one
and
that came out.
waiting and waiting.
Who
you know,
does
but
not
it finally
love
came out.
Doomsday Clock? I love this because it
pancakes.
feels exactly like the old Watchmen series, like the writing, the artist,
Confusing
very
and-
confusing.
What is
I
going
love the
on?
pancake cover, integrating Rorschach into it.
yeah.
This is book 4 of 12. Again, one of these books that it's going to take a while for them to come out.
It is.
Rob has
Every
told us.
other month.
Yeah, Rob told us every other month they're going to be coming out. Allegedly, because sometimes they'll push 2, sometimes they won't put out a book at all.
Right.
So it is still early if you want to go out. I'm sure you can get 1, 2, and 3 pretty easily. Still, they're doing reprintings pretty quickly. on it.
The read is great. Like they're taking, as everybody knows, the Watchmen universe and smashing it into the DC universe, and it's every one ends with like that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You know, like you read it, the whole thing is like has a huge storyline, maybe a backstory or something like that, and then it's a cliffhanger. You're like, I can't wait for the next one.
I disagree. I really, it's not that I don't like the book. I don't know how I feel moving such an iconic piece of literature to a kind of a different, to kind of pushing it to the side to kind of make way for more characters.
Yeah, you don't want to step on Moore's footsteps. You know,
Well, it's
you
not
don't
even
like,
just more. It was what the book was representing, how it was being displayed, how it was showing a cultural thing happening at that moment, and now we're kind of mashing it together. And I think we're kind of missing a bigger picture that could have been a lot more interesting. And not to be all Alan Moore about it, but I don't like it.
Again, stop holding back. Tell us how you feel.
That being said, it's book 412. My opinion can very, very easily change in the next 2 books.
Well,
Really
there
easily,
are other
so.
books, Brandon.
I mean, it's
Well,
true.
they have released the covers. You know, the artists released the covers in the next 2 issues, and this is where it's really going to get good because, of course, we have one of our favorite villains, the Joker, and Rorschach meet, and we cannot wait. Allegedly, this could be a good battle coming up.
I just don't know if I want that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
It's one of those.
when I see
just
the
because you
Watchmen-
can, you should.
Right,
shouldn't
we
you?
were so occupied in asking like how we didn't ask why.
Yeah.
Are we waiting for Superman versus Dr. Manhattan? I mean,
I think that's
I
inevitable
don't-
right
It's
there.
inevitable right
Hey,
there.
I don't
book
know.
my seats. I want to see that.
where's the story going? Like I'm feeling this. I don't want to throw it out here. I'm feeling they're trying to make Superman be Dr. Manhattan. That's what I feel because like it's all
good
it's
take
all
on that.
foreshadowing in there. I
is.
see it coming, but who knows?
I mean, it starts the first. If you haven't looked at the first panel from the first book, pretty much shatters the whole universe together. But that being said, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the Watchmen that is not addressed in these books at all. And again, we have half a dozen and change books to come out.
Sure.
It might. I really doubt we're going to see some conclusion, especially some of the darker stuff that the original book happened.
Knowing the Watchmen, I can almost guarantee there'll be a giant twist in there somewhere.
Yeah, right, right.
you know, that
So-
last issue, they're over going, ha ha ha, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
right.
And it was all a dream.
And it was all a
Boom,
dream.
That's
Right,
it.
Right, or it's a different universe. So that being said, I'm still really happy this book
Yeah.
exists, and I'm going to keep reading
And Cash,
it. So.
you brought some retro
Yeah,
back
I
here.
brought a retro here. I'm a big fan of back issues, and here's one of my favorite. I found this a few years ago. This is a Spectacular Spider-Man 200. This is where
whoa.
Harry Osborn discovers who he is as the Green Goblin and who Spider-Man is. It's a good read. I'm pro back issue. I'm
Sure.
pro go back and find like the good stuff.
Go back.
Yeah, go back hashtag.
As opposed to the GoPro back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you say hashtag or cash tag? I feel like it should be.
Can we start the hashtag? Yes!
Hashtag.
bootleg. I like
No, this is
that.
a cool book. I actually have quite a few friends that go back and just to find this particular book, the 200 giant size issue is a massive issue. One thing it never addresses though is why Harry's hair is still so weird.
Why is it so weird? That's just how he's drawn. That's how he is. That's how.
know.
And
It was a
also,
different time.
it's a lot of the inspiration for Spider-Man 3. A lot of the Harry Osborn arc in Spider-Man 3 comes from this particular issue.
A nice arc in a bad movie.
And it's
Speaking of
shiny
hair.
and sparkly, right? Yeah.
So it's a really cool book. And so question being, because I know people are gonna ask, how much does this set you back?
Oh, I found it very cheap for like $3 somewhere
Oh,
in the back issue. Yeah.
Second question, moving it over the table, how much would you paid for this?
how much would I have paid
Yeah.
for this?
Oh God.
For the giant size 200th issue. You know what? I got a buddy of mine who's an expert.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to call him down here, but
I'll
no,
give you
I-
3 dimes. And
Yeah, something like that.
Pawn stars.
Yeah,
I need to.
If you saw this in the wild, and it was marked for something, what would be
I would
your
honestly
limit?
expect to pay something like $20, $25 for something like this.
Yes.
That's very fair.
You know,
So-
you go to Comic Cons and now they're more like you buy stuff and meet celebrities.
Yeah.
But you used to go there and haggle with people and like I'll flip a coin for half the price or something like that, or I'll pay full price if it's heads.
Roll,
you know?
roll a D20 and see how it comes out.
Well, that's another show.
That's
we
it, man.
wrapped
We
it up. I
packed it
want to
up.
thank
We got
Dave
them all.
Gremillion from Get Your Geek On. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
when is the
tell us
show
the show,
again?
man.
All right, so we upload the podcast, which you can find on 930amtheanswer.com, iTunes, Stitcher, Omni, SoundCloud. We're all over the place. The podcast gets uploaded every Monday or Tuesday, depending on scheduling, but we do a Facebook Live, facebook.com/GYGO Radio. Every time we record the show, every time we go on air, boom, you can see us actually doing it.
I love when they
It's a lot of
interview
fun.
medians and things.
Oh, I love it.
It's one of my
so much
favorite things to
fun.
look. It is.
It's awesome. And then, so we'll see you there next week.
Next Thursday, April
and,
12th.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be really fun. Well, again, you can catch us up online, CW35 Facebook page, and also go to the website, CW35.com, and you can take a look at any of the back episodes, and we will see you again next week. And again, the 23rd, we're going to go ahead and have that Avengers special. So again, have fun, and we will see you next time. Thank you,
Later.
everybody.
Hashtag we're out.
Hashtag we're out. Your name's a Ghost Clyde.
These are questions I don't have answers for.
These are the questions we're dying to know. But thankfully, Wayne's World already covered.